Have you heard about Global Poker? Global Poker is the fastest growing card room in the US today, and it's available online at globalpoker.com. Global Poker is a social poker site that offers safe and secure cash out options by using their unique and patented sweepstakes model. Players can compete in big guaranteed tournaments, jackpot sit and goes, or cash games featuring Hold'em, Omaha, and even Crazy Pineapple. Don't wait. Check out Global Poker today.
Poker Stories is an audio series that features casual interviews with some of the game's best players and personalities. Each episode highlights a well-known figure in the poker world and dives deep into their favorite tales both on and off the feld.
Hello and welcome to Poker Stories, a podcast brought to you by Card Player, the Poker Authority, and hosted by me, Julio Rodriguez. This is episode number 98, and it features Bill Perkins. Now, those of us in the poker community know Bill as a regular on the high roller circuit. Bill's biggest cash came last summer at the Triton Super High Roller in London for $2.7 million. He also finished third in the $111,000 buy-in one-drop high roller back in 2013 for another $2 million. You might also know Bill from some of the crazy prop bets he has participated in over the years. He once bet Jeff Gross $500,000 for a tattoo. Brian Rast and Dan Bilzerian had to ride a bicycle from Vegas to Los Angeles in their prop bets with Perkins. And Antonio Esfandiari once had to give up sex for a year in another prop. He apparently only lasted a little over a week before buying out of that one. But for those outside of the poker world, Bill Perkins is a hedge fund manager and an entrepreneur. Bill made his fortune focusing on venture capital and energy markets before turning to fun projects like producing movies, traveling and seeing the world from his yacht, and of course, playing high-stakes poker. Now, Bill has a new book out called Die with Zero, Getting All You Can from Your Money and Your Life. I bought the book, read it, and I immediately knew that I had to have Bill on to talk about it. It's one of those books that can change the way you approach your decision making, not only with regards to money, but also how you spend your time. Anyway, Bill does a better job of explaining it than I ever could, so enough intro. Here is my conversation with Bill Perkins. I am here with the one and only Bill Perkins. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. I mean, you got to be doing good. You just got back from like a mini vacation, right?
Yeah. It was 5 weeks in Europe.
That's not a
going
mini
around.
vacation.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, you're a long time, but like Europeans take a month off. They have 4 weeks, every single person, and I think they're doing it right. I just got 1 extra week out of it. So
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering how much of your life is vacation at this point. Like, do you even differentiate? I mean, I'm sure you do a little bit of work here and there everywhere, right?
yeah, I mix it in. There's trips interwoven throughout the year. It's not just these 2 weeks and then I'm going to Disney World, that type of thing. I'm fortunate to get to a point where, I have some dynamic decisions, like I have kids and they have school and there's certain things that we have to be in obligations, but I try and basically make my office wherever I possibly want to be, wherever it's the most enjoyable.
I do want to talk about that and the structure you built for your life, or lack of structure, I should say. But first, let's go back to the beginning because, you Google the name Bill Perkins and Houston comes up, but you grew up in New Jersey, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Jersey City, New Jersey. Went to
Okay.
high school at St. Peter's Prep, grammar school at the Perkins School. That's the beginnings of my life.
Your dad was a football player for the Jets. Your uncle played for the Cowboys. I mean, was football the focus of your life early on?
No, it was funny because my dad had left, right before it was like the NFL. It was the NFL, right? It was like leather helmet days, and he went to law. He went to law school, and not until Pop Warner days later did I really like get into football, and I didn't really watch that much TV as a kid, so I didn't even get to watch that much football. But football became part of my life much later in life, which was great.
So you went to the University of Iowa, where you did play a little football, and majored in electrical engineering. What was the plan, or what did you see lined up for yourself?
The plan was to be the biggest slacker I possibly could and to chase women across campus. I mean, I really wasn't. I went to school to learn engineering. I wanted to learn it. But I went to school, I think, in college a little early for myself because I was one of those kids who's like born in a weird date. So I was like the youngest freshman in college.
Same with me. I turned 18 in college.
Yeah.
It was weird.
I was, yeah. Not until like, sophomore year. So I was like at the very, very edge. And, I don't think I had the maturity to be in college when I was in college. So, I was always behind, and taking it. But so the plan was pretty much to just learn engineering. But while I was in college, I realized like, that's not what I wanted to do. And my mom was like, listen, you're going to college to learn, not to get a job. It's like, you want to get a job and go to trade school, just go learn what you're going to learn and, figure it out, which I thought was probably some of the better advice my mom had given me because I took classes that I normally wouldn't take. And even though I didn't apply myself as much as I should have, it was a great way to be. And then, after college, I was delusional. I wanted to be rich. And I went to the New York Mercantile Exchange.
Right. So I read in the book, obviously, that you worked under John Arnold at Centaurus. John Arnold, obviously the big oil trader, and that got you pointed into the energy field.
No, I was in energy long before that. I started off as a screen clerk on the New York Mercantile Exchange, where heating oil and was traded and oil products were traded, and then natural gas was a new listed contract back then, and I went over to natural gas options pit as a clerk and broker, and I went over to counter brokering, and then I got recruited by a Texas firm to run an options desk in natural gas. And then by the time, John and I were friends, and when John started his fund, I joined him.
I read in the book that you were inspired by Gordon Gekko and Wall Street.
Yeah, it's kind of cartoonish, right? It's like, this character, this came out, and the movie was really about like how unbridled greed and the downside of that. But that wasn't the message I was getting. The message I was getting was holy shit, these equity guys make F ton of money. You know what I mean? And they're able to do whatever they want. And so I was like, that's what I want.
This podcast is not safe for work, so feel free to say the F word if you like.
Yeah, gotcha.
So real quick, we'll talk about movies later with your other side career. But what is your favorite Wall Street type of movie? Is Wolf of Wall Street better, or do you have a favorite?
I like Wolf of Wall Street, but I think people are partial to the era that when they were growing up. I think Wall Street probably is going to be that and Trading Places. I mean,
of course.
Trading Places is going to be my favorite kind of. Trading Places is really on the Philadelphia stuff. It's really a commodities movie because they trade the crop report. I think they trade frozen concentrated orange juice, right? and so it's a commodity thing. Then it's actually filmed on the New York Mercantile Exchange floor where I work. So that might have to be my favorite, and then Wall Street.
So you were a broker at first, but you wanted to be a trader, and you would do like you had a night job driving a limo.
Well, we're kind of throwing different periods out there. When I was a broker, I was making good money. Brokers paid a lot, but I was a screen clerk. When I was a screen clerk, I drove a limo at night. I drove the boss's limo at night to make extra money because I just did not make enough money to have any kind of city living life whatsoever.
Yeah, it's an expensive city.
Yeah. Everybody lives in pizza ovens. I tell everybody that. It's like, you don't know? Yeah, we all live in pizza oven-sized apartments.
So yeah, you're obviously known in the poker world for these big, crazy prop bets that you've done. But you were doing prop bets with the Wall Street guys way before poker, right?
Yeah, I mean, they were the guys like splashing the money, getting their entertainment, having us uh, underlings do crazy things, right? Like, and that's in feats of human strength or incredible feats of human endurance or just crazy stuff like eat that roach off the floor type stuff. Or which I saw a guy do, and he was sick for like 3 weeks. Like I don't know, he must have had like every disease and virus there ever was. But
Oh
it was
man, what's the worst
it,
thing you did?
I didn't do any of those things. I mean, I couldn't eat the roach. I was, like I definitely couldn't eat the roach. I mean, I just watched it all. I didn't have the money to partake in that type of thing, and I didn't do any of that crazy stuff.
What about liar's poker, which, for those that don't know,
Oh,
is a game used, I guess, with dollar bills or hundreds if you're a baller.
yeah, I'm not about to play with dollar bills, but I used to play that a lot. We used to play liar's poker all the time. And even like it was great because you would be able to play with like the senior traders. I remember playing liar's poker against equities trader when I was a clerk, and I thought that was a big deal, just playing liar's poker and hanging out, just at going out with bars, socializing and playing liar's poker.
I
That was
remember there was somebody playing liar's poker in Spain with euros back in the day, and this is before I'd read the Michael Lewis book, and I was like, I don't understand how this currency works at all, but it worked out great for me.
yeah.
um, so you got fired from Swiss Bank, and you said that it made you hungrier.
Yeah, I mean, it was a time where I was like um, moving out of my slacker stage and getting into my like integrity and driven stage, but there were still some slacker uh, habits in me and things in me, and I lost my job, and I think it kind of reignited like, all right, you here you are, Bill, you fuck up, get your shit together. Like
Yeah.
get your motherfucking shit together and go get it, go get a job, go get whatever, and you know, put in your time and then, strike whenever you can get your a trading job, work your way back up.
Is that
But
what led you to Houston?
yeah, so what happened was is that I was brokering over the counter and my my clients came, client visit, had me come down and visit them, and little did I know, they were talking to me, but they offered me a job to run the options desk down there, which is kind of like you're always on interview, right? You never know. Like I didn't know I was on interview, but that client dinner was actually an interview, and they offered me a job to run their options desk, and I snap took it. Like I was prior to prior to that, I was one of those Northeast guys, New York City. Like I would never move to Texas. Like you couldn't pay me to move to Texas. Like never ever. My whole life. Like I would never go south of the Mason-Dixon line. There's racist and blah 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 and this and that. I'm not going
Even
back.
with your uncle in Dallas?
No, my uncle isn't in Dallas. Like my uncle in Dallas? No, no, my uncle's not in Dallas.
Well, you play for the Cowboys, I just assumed.
Yeah. So like, no, nothing. Yeah, that was like. So my dad did. My dad was on the Dallas Cowboys for like a hot minute. But it just the Texas guys on the University of Iowa team would just tell these stories that were just like crazy, and I just had this like stereotype of what Texas was going to be like. But once the opportunity came up, I was like, I will be there tomorrow. You know,
Yeah.
I would have went to Siberia to trade, so it didn't. It didn't really matter where it was. They would have been like, "Oh, you want to go to? There's a war going on, and it's in the middle of so and so, but we got this little trading station." I'm like, "I'll be there. I'll see you."
Yeah, I mean that brings up the topic of risk and how you haven't really been afraid of it ever in your life, it seems at least. Um, when did that happen for you, or why did that happen for you?
I mean, I wouldn't say like not afraid of it ever. I would just say that you know, I'm not afraid of failing, or I have less fear of having egg on my face, or looking like an idiot, or crashing and burning, or being broke. And I think when you've been broke, or and you've gone through it, and you survived it, and you struggled, and you've had good times, or whatever, you're kind of like, I can go back. You don't want to go back. You desperately don't want to go back, but you're
Yeah.
like, you can go back, right? And so you're okay taking prudent, taking risk reward in order to get to what you really want. And so that, I think the having navigated the, being busted and realizing, shit, I can always make decent money, okay money, right? Driving limos, getting a job here, waiting tables, hustling. That if you have that backstop, then you're willing to shoot the moon, right? You're willing to shoot the moon and go for it. And so that was kind of my attitude back then,
Well, let's bring up the book then. The book is obviously Die with Zero. I encourage everyone listening out there to go out and check it out. Yeah, it's funny. I'm reading the book and I read the first chapter essentially, or the premise, and I go, okay, I'm on board, Bill. How else are you gonna fill out this book? I'm already on board, and obviously the book does a great job of answering every single question, like what about your kids and retirement, all this stuff. But I was fascinated by the anecdotes you would throw in to support your arguments, whether it was stories from your own life, stories from friends who went through some hard times. And it was also kind of like a mini Freakonomics in that there was all this data and science to back up what you were saying about the numbers and how the elderly spend their their retirement and whatnot. Yeah, I had a good time reading it. But I'm wondering, when did that click for you? When did this mentality start?
It came through, at various times, like various pieces, various times, and then I think starting about 10 years ago, maybe even a little longer, I started openly discussing it and trying to find what's the solution, what's the answer, right? Okay. Trying to convert the concepts into everyday practical, okay, how am I going to live my life? How do I do this? The idea of when I was younger, I used to have this idea oh, it's okay to be rich, but you don't want to be rich old. What the fuck are you going to do, right? That's and I think when you're 21, 22, trying to make it, and you see older rich guys, right, and they're essentially my age now, right, and you're like, yeah, that's fine. It's nice that you're rich, but what the hell are you going to do with it? You're old, that type of mentality.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though I have the magnitude wrong, I got the direction right? At a certain point, the money is useless, right? And so that concept, exploring that concept about the utility of money and how it changes with age, is something that I've been thinking about for quite some time. The book Your Money or Your Life, it absolutely changed the way I looked at money and time, right, and how to equate it. Right. And that's in there. Right. There's a lot of that in the book. The idea of, different ideas of what makes you, even in sci-fi, right? Sci-fi, what makes movies Judgment Day or Final Day, even Memento, right? These movies are what constitutes you, right? And so literally it comes back to your memories and your experiences. So right. You're loaded with these memories and experiences, and that's what gives you your fulfillment, right? Why am I happy? Why do I smile when I see my daughter? Well, I have an experience. I've had time with her. I know her. I made her, etc. Those memories, right?
I love that in the book where you compare it to compounding interest and how these memories, they pay off over and over again as you retell the stories.
Yeah.
And how sad it is that so many people work their whole life slaving away and they don't have a single story to share once they're done.
Yeah, they've wasted no money, but they certainly wasted their lives, right? A lot of people are kind of not necessarily completely wasting their lives, but they're wasting a good portion of their lives, right? By not having experiences at the right times when they were meant to be had, and then they get to a certain period in their life, they look backwards or they're around, they're like, what the fuck did I do? I wasted my late 20s, or I wasted my 30s or 40s or 50s or my 60s. And my point is, all right, that's all done. That's all said and done. From this point now to the grave, we got to think about modeling your life, right? We got to think about life cycle modeling, right? We're not setting goals. Goals are out the fucking window, right? Goals are nice. They're part of it. They go in there, but we want to, what is going to happen? What is the arc of your life? What is the experience slotting or time bucketing of your experience is going to be? right? From now, whatever age you are, to the day you die. Right?
It's
So that
essential,
means,
yeah. Carpe diem, but this is why you need to spend the money now before before you're too old and tired to explore Europe.
yeah, like we definitely focus a lot on in the book about like converting your money into experiences, like using your resources, converting your health into experiences at the right time, right? Because you won't be able to hike or walk as far without pain or even enjoy certain experiences in later in life. And certain experiences are maybe not to put that much time into those experiences when you're younger, but maybe put them later, right? And health has a huge portion of it, right? Like if you want to watch Jeopardy, guess what? You can watch Jeopardy when you're 80. You can pull out all the reruns and everything like that. You know, you might want to slot hiking that mountain at the time, you know what I mean? Or jogging at night or doing picnics or whatever in that time, you know? And so it's about being on model for whoever you are, making sure that you allocate your experiences and your resources correctly throughout your life. Right? It's not
Right,
just
you talk
like
about it. The
it's not like
go,
yep.
slow go, and the no go.
Yeah. That's a term used in the wealth management people and advisors, et cetera. Anybody who has to deal with anybody in retirement knows that like these people go to retirement and they first come out and there's like these go-go years where they're moving and they're semi-active and they want to do stuff, and then there's the slow-go years and not really doing that much, and then there's just the no-go years, right? I'm not leaving my house. My kids and my children are coming to visit me. Holidays are at my house or I'm not going, that type of thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so they have, if you go to the wealth advisors, the accumulation is a big problem because they can't get the seniors to do it, right? They just have a mental block on spending their money down, and besides the mental block, they just don't have the capability. That's my belief, right? They just don't have the ability to convert the money into experiences, and so it's time for them to convert them into the experience of helping people, which is shipping the money to other people, either their kids or other charities, et cetera, because the time is now. So they basically went to work, spent their time not doing certain things, saving away for money for no reward, for money they'll never spend.
Right.
And we're trying to avoid that.
You're a guy that doesn't, have a boss. You don't follow a set schedule. At least you try not to. But the other parts of your life are very regimented in the way that you say, okay, before I eat this cookie, you ask yourself, is it worth half an hour on the treadmill? Or is the shirt you're going to buy worth an extra hour of work or whatever it's worth? You know what I mean? Is that the way you make all your decisions in life? Or
I mean, it's a mental model, right? Like you can have that mental model. Like I got the mental model of like converting everything into hours of work and time into time.
mm-hmm.
Just convert it into time. I got that from Your Money or Your Life, right? And that's one of the things that I do. Like it's now not shirts or whatever because my hourly unit of time is so high relative to shirt. But I do it with like
yeah, obviously, yeah, it was an early example.
I mean, it's great, but you're right about cookies. There's no doubt. If I want to maintain a certain amount of weight, I have an energy balance, right? There's a certain amount of kilojoules in and a certain amount of kilojoules out, and if I eat a cookie and it's 250, sometimes they're 400 calories, or I'm gonna eat two, obviously. So if I eat 600 calories of cookies, that's an hour on the treadmill on a 15 incline at 3.1 miles per hour, right? For me, at my weight, and I'm like, I'm not one of those guys who absolutely loves being on the fucking treadmill. I hate it. So I'm like, is the cookie worth an hour of my time on the treadmill? And it's sometimes a lot of times that answer is yes. There's some good damn chocolate chip cookies out there, but
there's some good cookies.
Sometimes it's no. I'm like, no, I'm not going to spend an hour of my life on a treadmill for this cookie, right? Or whatever the activity is, right? To get it. And so, I mainly use that mental model in terms of like converting everything into time with transit.
Mm-hmm.
Some people do it. Should I fly and spend $300 or should I drive? I save an hour. You know what I mean? I'll save an hour versus flying. But the flying costs me, or I save 2 hours flying, but it costs me $150 more. You know what I mean? That's, $75 an hour. My hourly earn is only $60. You know what I mean? Like, is it worth it? You know what I mean? That break even, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I do that with private travel. I do it with all kinds of things, and one of the life hacks is every single device or every single thing that can actually give you time back. So I'm on the area of the curve where I'm converting money into time, right?
Spending more than you're taking in.
No. Like I'm like, I buy things that save me time. So like,
oh yes.
So I get hours back in my life. Yes, exactly. Cleaning services, private travel, blah blah blah. Anything that accelerates time. You know what I mean? DoorDash. You know what I mean? Anything. Like, I don't have to go drive to get the groceries and pick them out. They're going to deliver to me, and I got to pay an extra whatever. Done. 100%. Right? No brainer. Right? Before, I was in a time of giving up my time in order to get money. Right? And hopefully getting more and more money. So
yeah, I was comforted as somebody who has not saved a lot for retirement myself at 36. I was comforted in the book because I feel like I've been kind of doing this, making sure I get the experience instead of thinking about tomorrow. And I do like how the book clarifies that this isn't just for rich people. Obviously you are in a situation that is vastly different from most of us. But you're right. There are poor people out there who choose to watch Jeopardy for 2 hours instead of interacting with their kids, and they could easily make a memory instead.
Yeah, it's really a book about get off autopilot and be deliberate about your life and plan out your life. So that's resource agnostic, right? Because you're going to have time and you're going to have your health, right? And you may have varying amounts of money, right? And then those variables are going to change over the course of your life. And it's, think about, okay, how am I going to allocate those resources right now to get the maximum fulfillment I can get out of my life, the maximum experiences. I use experience points, whatever. Experiences, I use it very broadly. Doesn't mean travel. It means every single thing you choose to do, how you spend the time, the experience of giving money to somebody, the experience of going to a club, the experience of whatever it is, playing cards with your daughter, yada, yada. And so it's really about being deliberate and off autopilot and allocating those experiences appropriately throughout your life.
We brought up Jeopardy a couple times, not to shit on Jeopardy, but you gave some advice in the book saying don't watch TV. You're not a TV watcher, huh?
Yeah, I'm not like never look at a screen, but I don't get, for me personally, I don't get that much value, and I don't see that much value from anybody's life out of TV. And it sucks a lot of hours out of people's free lives. I mean, yeah, if there's a great show and you love it and it gives you enjoyment, watch it, have fun. I'm not here to tell you how, exactly what to do. What I'm saying is that, you have finite amount of hours on the earth, and TV sucks a lot out of them. And the amount of time, you can watch TV in terms of like entertainment mindless. It's just like it doesn't produce that much value. You can learn to program, you can learn to play piano, you can spend time with your friends, you can be creating all these experiences or valuable things to you that either kick out a memory dividend or enrich your life versus TV. And so like a lot of time during my life, people are like, how do you do this? How do you do all these things? How do you whatever? I was like, I don't watch TV. And you'd be amazed when you get 2 hours a day back. People watch an hour, 2 hours of TV. I was like, if you have 2 hours a day, it's amazing what you can do.
I think if people go to your Instagram or Twitter, they see a guy who is intent on enjoying as much as he can out of the day. Are you comfortable with the label of a hedonist?
No. I mean, I don't know if the label, everything people do, in my belief system is like it gets some pleasure, even when you're doing something charitable, right? Like
that's true.
That's pleasurable to you. So I don't think that label gives you a meaning or a feeling. So I would use a different label. Like I would just say that I'm much into soaking up and enjoying life as much as possible, you know, and trying to get this one right. Like I'm going to die. Like that is on no uncertain terms, and it's not that far away. I've been alive more than I will most likely live, right? And so I don't get a second chance. It's not like I'm gonna hit the grave and they're gonna be like, you know what, do over, Mario Brothers. You know what I mean? You know, make this decision. Be kind when you should. You know, here, do that, whatever. It's like you don't get to go like, oh, what? Like the moments pass and they're gone forever. And so I want to soak it up and savor it like it was like great lemonade in my mouth, you know, and get the most out of it. And so that's kind of like, I don't know what that is. You know, I'm trying to get the maximum fulfillment, you know. I'm all about net fulfillment over net worth.
Now, why do you think other rich people aren't like you or have your mentality? I mean, the internet says you have $55 million, but you mentioned your partner John Arnold was in the book a guy who didn't know when to say enough was enough, and he kept growing to the point where he had so much he can't even enjoy it. When is enough enough? Why is it that these titans of industry feel the need to keep their foot on the gas pedal instead of going out and enjoying their yacht or whatever?
I think habits have a way of making you believe the habit is the goal, you know, and people get on autopilot. Like in order to get good at something, you have to spend a lot of time at it. You obsess over it. There's many hours honing that craft. You form winning habits relative to that, whether you're a tennis player, golf player, or a business guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, tech guy, etc. And you have these routines, and you become habituated into doing things, and you get on autopilot, right? Like the example I like to give is like a lot of people when they drive home, you ask them like, how did you drive home? They just got home. They don't remember anything from the drive. They're kind of like autopilot, just making the right turn when it's supposed to make the right turn, whatever. But are they taking in the view on the drive? Did they notice that this happened? Whatever. No, they just somehow safely got home, right? And I think that, you know, people put over 10,000 hours, you know, working, doing something, trying to get good at a craft. It becomes a habit, and they become disconnected on the reason why they went to work and the other things in their life that they really wanted, and it becomes all consuming. You know, you can just put a rat in a wheel for cheese, and then after a while, you don't even have to put the cheese in. You just show them the wheel; they'll start running on it, right?
Yeah.
I think that happens to a lot of people. Like they go to work, and the reward was the money in order to go do whatever the things they wanted to do: put their kids in school, build a well in Africa, go to the club, whatever the experiences they wanted to have, right?
Yeah.
But after a while, you don't even have to do that. They'll think like, I love the wheel, but I love running in the wheel. This is my favorite thing, to run in the wheel, right? When really it's a habit.
Yeah, the rat analogy, you know, it makes me think of our current system in this country, and there's a lot of people in positions of power now who are very, very wealthy, and you just wonder why. Why you're not obviously not a public servant doing it for the 150K a year. Why? What is the motivation? But you're right, it's the wheel. They love the wheel, man.
Well, I think for some it's the wheel, and I think some people like we associate it, like they made a conscious decision that whatever they're building is a contribution to society, and that's the experience that they want to have. I can't really speak for those people and know who's on autopilot and who's just a rat on the wheel,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I would say, you know, based, you know, on average, a super majority of them are just rats on wheels, and seriously, you know, basically wasting a life.
Well, you're a guy who did very well in the American capitalist system. I'm wondering what your thoughts on it on it now, you know, about the 40-hour work week. What about a universal basic income? Do you see this coming for people?
I mean, the whole idea of capitalism is somebody creates something of value for that somebody else wants, right? And so that's great, right? And you know, people, you know, work for people. They prefer to have security over equity. They want to get paid first. You know, the entrepreneurs get paid last. All that's fine. You know, but one of the things I think that's happened is that people are not in touch with what they want out of life. They're talking in abstracts. I want $100,000. I want $1 million. And whatever. I'm like, what does that represent? What is the thing that you need, that you want, that $1 million gets you, right? Or 2 million or 3 million, whatever the big number is, right? Because we're past the point of survival, right? There's there's the stuff you need to survive, right? We all want to survive. We need to feed ourselves and clothe and blah blah blah. Then the rest is experiences of our choosing. And I think when you keep it abstract, just like you keep them as chips in a casino, people don't realize the money they're flying back and forth, right? It's one of the most brilliant things about a casino is chips, because they're just chips.
Yeah.
You're flying back and forth. You're not attached to it. You're not whatever. It's not real. It's like, it's just money. It's like, what is it? It's like, well, that's this trip. This is a dinner with your parents. This is, whatever, blah, blah, blah. These are the experiences that, so once you detach them and they're just chips, people just want more chips. They don't want more life, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's going on. UBI, I think, is, they're way far better people to talk about UBI than I. But, I support UBI because, the resources that have been allocated in this country in terms of land ownership and wealth that's been passed down has not been, it's not equitably distributed, right? And that's fine. It is what it is, right? And even if it was
the rigged game,
yeah, I mean, it's just rigged, right? It is what it is. But even if it wasn't rigged, and let's say it was equitably distributed hundreds of years ago, somebody coming up now, right, can't just go and live off the land, right? It's not 1776 or even 1801 where it's like, oh, I'm just going to live off the Mississippi River. I'm going to fish. I'm going to build my house. I'm going to crops. I'm going to shade my fish with some whatever, and I'm fine. You cannot survive doing that, right? You actually are forced to work in order to survive, right? There are some safety nets, et cetera, but in order to survive, you are forced to work, okay? So there's an element of force in work, right?
It's not free. We don't have real free will. You'll starve.
Right. And so what UBI does is removes that force, right? Allows you to go, oh, I can actually survive and have more choices, right? And I'm not forced to work. It's the ultimate fuck you, right? And it also unleashes creativity, right? Like now that I'm not forced to work at McDonald's to survive, I can work on this book that I've been working on. I can work on this play. I can work on Hamilton, or I can work, you know what I mean? I can work on this tech company and code in my garage, right? And so people are making decisions based on survival, and there's only one decision: you are forced to go get a job. And I just think that as a libertarian, pretty much against force. I'm big on freedom, and I think UBI gives that freedom to people.
You brought up death. You have an app that is counting down to your estimated day of death.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, what are your thoughts on it? Are you afraid of death, or are you just more afraid of wasting life?
I'm more afraid of wasting life than I am afraid of death, but it's not to say that I'm not afraid of death per se. Like, I'm afraid of kind of like, well, what happened? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, the unknown.
the last moments, or like, am I going to sit there panicking? And my last moment's going to be crazy, or what? You know what I mean? Like, I just have like these weird, like, thoughts about it. But more, I'm very, very, I'm old enough to have had periods in my life where I'm like, wow, I really didn't take advantage of this period, and I really didn't do all I could in this period, and why was I on autopilot during this period? And so I'm very, very afraid of wasting periods and hours and days of my life.
I do like that. I do like the chapter you talked about having many deaths in your life as people change. It was sad to me, but it was very comforting in the way I was thinking about it. I'm a guy who's very afraid of death. I think about it as little as I can. But you're talking about like a situation where like your daughter's not going to be that same age where she wants to play a certain game or watch a certain show with you, and when that ends, it's like a death. you
Yeah.
know. And I
Yeah.
like that because it makes me think, oh, I've experienced a lot of death.
Yeah. There's you go through many periods of your life die and they're gone. You know, the period of you being single, the period of you being in your 20s, your period of you being a college student. You know, and I remember in college there was a newspaper article that came out. It was like 50 things to do at the University of Iowa before you leave. I did like 2 of them, right? And I was like, holy fuck, I've been fucking around. I've been wasting the college experience, right? Like these are things that I should have been done, and I was like trying to run around and do some of them, but some of them were too late. You know, it was just too late. Like I couldn't do them, and I was like, you know, that hit me, and other periods of my life have hit me, and it's like you don't just die once; you have many deaths, right? And you have many seasons in your life, and these seasons come and go, and there's certain experiences depending on who you are that are meant to happen in those experience in that period, and once they're gone, they're gone. It's over. And
Yeah.
so you know, there's not just this one death where everything's over. There's nothing you can do about it, whatever, because certain experiences you can leak into another period, but it may not be as good, right? Like for me to go raving at a club right now, it's nowhere near as fun and as good as when I was in my 20s, right?
Yeah,
Just
even
nowhere.
though the bottle service would be better.
I mean, even the bottle's still just not as fun. Like it's just nowhere as fun. Like it's your attitude change, your energy level changes, your drive changes. Like the period, and you're old, you just don't fit. You know. But if I was like 20, and it didn't matter if I was broke or didn't have whatever. When I was 20 something in a club raving, it was absolutely awesome. The best thing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm single. There's girls. There's this. There's that. It's full of potential. There's energy. And so, you know, that season of my life has passed, and you know, my glow sticks money is useless now. Like the money set aside for me in heaven for glow sticks and raving is pretty much useless. It's like Chuck E. Cheese tokens. Like if I opened up my drawer and I had like, you know, 1,000 Chuck E. Cheese tokens, I'm just like, well, those are useless to me. You know what I mean? Like I don't get any, you know, I'm not going to get any enjoyment out of Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah. You should go make it rain for the
Go
kids.
make it rain. Yeah, it's not charity money. It's like make it rain. That would be a great TikTok skit. Somebody going to get Chuck E. Cheese and just like throwing coins all
Do
around.
they even use the tokens anymore? I think
I
they use
don't
the
know.
cards.
I don't even. Yeah, you're right. They might have gone on digital, but I know they do in Dave and Buster's. But they maybe some Chuck E. Cheese still has a couple tokens going around.
All right. We do have to talk about some poker, even though I could talk about that book for hours. When did poker make its way into your life?
I think you know, weird poker games like I don't even know if they're poker games, AC Doocy and stuff like that in high school.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as a clerk on the floor is when first learning and starting to play poker.
Did you ever visit any of the Manhattan rooms, the underground rooms?
I think later, no. It's so funny that I didn't because I think you know I was from Manhattan. I was I didn't have enough money to go into these rooms, and then
Go
you know
down there and
poker.
see Eric Seidel.
Yeah, poker wasn't as big in my life then. You know, it was part of my life, but I was more like running around New York City just being 20, right? And then I moved to Houston, right? And then I was very much in the natural gas grind world, um, and then started playing poker down here, local games. Started picking up and getting into it then.
Speaking of Houston, did you ever played with Andy Beal?
I have not. I have not.
That seems pretty crazy given the interest.
Yeah, he's you know, he's a banker and you know, he plays stakes that even I don't play. He plays like ridiculous stakes. Like I'm not trying to, you know, like he's
Says the high
out there.
roller.
Yeah, he's a super high roller. It's not I wouldn't play him or whatever, but like I like playing poker. I really like the social aspects of it. When playing, it's not like my day job, so I don't have any delusions of like, wow, I'm here to make a bunch of money and I'm going to be a professional at it. Like I want to win. I do compete, but you know, I mean, I flip for roles in natural gas trading. You know,
Yeah.
that's where, you know, you'll see me splashing around.
Well, do you need to put down a 6-figure buy-in to feel a rush, or do you get more of a rush from a 7-figure buy-in, or is it all the same to you?
You know, the funny thing is that I do get the rush even at lower buy-ins. I mean, like there's a certain number where it's like it needs to aggravate you if you lose a little bit. Like for me, it's like oh, it's so annoying. It doesn't hurt me. It's not going to change my life, but it's so aggravating. You know what I mean? Like so it's weird. So even like I was playing 501k online, and I shipped kings, and I was like, I could feel my heart pounding pre-flop. I was like, this is nothing. Like this literally this amount of money that I've shipped is like nowhere near like my P&L that day trading or whatever. But the fact that it was in poker and I shipped it, my heart was like, cacao, 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 cacao. You know what I mean?
That's great.
It's a great feeling, you know. It's like because it's I want to win and it's competitive and it's not my day job and I'm not as stoic as it is with natural gas trading. To me, natural gas it could be 10x that number, 50x that number, and it would be like whatever it is, what it is. I've done my research. This is the right trade. If I lose, I lose.
See, I like that because I think that makes poker more fun. You talk to some of these high rolling robot kids, and you ask them what's the difference, and they're like, I don't know, it's just a decision. Every decision's the same. And it's like, how's that possible?
Yeah, that's pretty much natural gas. Like, is it fun? It's like, no. I mean, situations come up. I put it on. It's great to win, but if I lose, you lose. It's just part of it. It's just you don't sweat any. There's really no big sweat on any individual things per se because you do that trade 100 times out of 100, and sometimes it goes right, and sometimes it goes wrong. So that's just the way it is.
But take the emotion out of it.
Yeah, it's you have to be pretty stoic about it. But in poker, I'm not a stoic. It's not my day job. It's not even close to my day job. It's fun. I love live poker and the social aspects of it. So, I mean, I guess that's what gives me I'm nervous. You know what I mean? Are you nervous?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, I'm way more nervous playing poker than trading.
We got some rapid fire questions for you if you'd like to start.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Let's talk about the movies that you've produced and also acted in. What was your favorite, first of all? Because, I mean, you worked with Liam Neeson and Billy Bob Thornton and Samuel L. Jackson.
I think my favorite, the favorite one I acted in was in Baytown Outlaws. That was with Billy Bob Thornton, and Eva Longoria, Daniel Cudmore, Travis Fimmel, and Clayton Crawford.
Andre Braugher too.
Yeah, Andre Braugher, and I forget who played the kid. He's in Love Actually. The kid in Love Actually.
Wait. I got it
Thomas,
right.
Thomas Broderick Sangster.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my favorite one acting. My favorite one making was Cat Run.
Cat Run.
Yeah.
Well, I like the poster for that one.
Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I mean, it's just like, imagine a rich guy with money who had a 17-year-old type mentality going to make a movie. That was basically that movie. So
I like your acting credits: cop, security guard twice, gambler, sniper. Judge Bill. They gave you your name. That was good.
Yeah, that was in.
I guess that's better than Black Golfer.
Yeah, Black Golfer. I love Black Golfer. That's my friend Derek. My friend Derek Fort. He's a director. I worked with him on Dark Under the Stars. It's a movie we did together, independent movie, and he directed this movie Unhinged. But he was just like, "Hey, I'm shooting this movie in Georgia. Whatever. You want to come in and be in the scene?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." Flew in, and I hung out with him. Black Golfer #1.
Speaking of black golfers, you golf with Tiger Woods.
Yes, I did. That was part of Tiger has Tiger Jam. I think he still has it every year.
Yeah, I went last year. I don't think it went this year, but it was last year.
Yeah, and they auctioned off Golf with Tiger Woods, and I took it and golfed with him in a program. I golfed with him twice, I think, and another time it came out. He was really nice.
How'd you shoot?
Terrible. The same way.
Did you shoot worse? Did you shoot worse in front of Tiger, or better because you were inspired?
I shot better than him. I actually beat him in a mini game of Wolf that we were playing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
If you get the right partner in Wolf, you don't have to do anything.
Correct. It was 1-on-1, but it was a lot of fun. It was a great experience.
You said before that you've never done drugs. Is that still true?
No, that's still not true. That used to be true up until 48. Yeah, I never, ever until 48 um, um, did any schedule whatever with people. Alcohol is a drug, so we have to say yes. I have drank alcohol. I
Yeah,
never drank alcohol until I was
schedule
21.
one. So wheat or worse.
Yeah, and so I knew I wanted to experiment before I died, and I set the date at 50 years old. I said, when I'm 50, I'll try. I'll at least try. Right? I'll go someplace and I'll try it. And I, was thinking about this book and writing this book, and I was like, why the hell am I waiting till 50? Like, first of all, I can die before then. Second of all, like, I'll be that much older, maybe that much not enjoying it. I really have the negative effects of drugs like that. I'm concerned, these tail risks. Really not going to affect me that much. It's not going to interfere with my career or blah blah blah. Like, I'm already rich, etc. So I accelerated the experimentation date of 2 years.
And now it's a daily thing.
No, it's not. I mean, one of the things I realized is that alcohol is the worst drug.
Yeah, I don't see the benefits.
It's the most accepted, but it is absolutely the worst and most destructive in my experience. And it's not even the best in terms of I like wine, we have a glass and etc. But it's not even the best of, like, you're taking something, just the drug aspect of it, that you're taking something and it's going to give you this experience, right? And you're hoping it's going to be a good experience. I think alcohol is like hit or miss. I think it's like 66%, like, it's like negative. Maybe, for some people it's 33% bad, 66 good, or whatever. But it doesn't have a great hit ratio in terms of, like, experience, and it causes so much damage and destruction versus these other natural drugs that are out
That's
there.
another thing that might come with age, though. I remember I probably had like a 90% success rate while I was in college. But today it's probably less than 2%. I don't touch this stuff because it's not I'm too old. I
Yeah,
don't get the benefit from it.
for me, like, when I was thinking about my life, my arc of my life, I was like, look, I grew up in Jersey City. There were plenty of people who went really sideways with drug, and I've seen it also destroy people's ambition, and that cumulative disadvantage or accumulated advantage from not taking drugs or drinking, etc., really had a major impact on my life, right? Because I wasn't hungover. I got up early and I did this, or I read this book, or I studied this, I studied that, and I wasn't, like, distracted or impaired in my hours, on any substance. And I think that was very important for me. But I reasoned that, like, look, if I'm 75 or 80, of course I'll try everything. Like, what does it matter? I'm going to die soon. You know what I mean? That type of thing.
Oh yeah.
That type of attitude. And I was thinking, okay, maybe it's not 75, 80. The more research I did, like, a lot of research on, why is this illegal? Why is this not illegal? What's the impact? What is the experience? Can you get addicted? Whatever. And the more I understood, the more I was willing to at least experiment before I died.
Well, I have a similar thing. I tell my wife I'm lactose intolerant, but I say on my deathbed, go ahead and give me the full dairy ice cream.
I like it.
Is there anything left on your bucket list?
Oh, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of life to be lived, and I have time buckets. There's certain experiences I want to have between now and the next 5 years, and then the next 5 years after that. And so I actually pull up a spreadsheet. I have a Excel spreadsheet where I have it bucketed, like, I have a tab 51 to 56, and then on the vertical column I'll have, like, community, interpersonal relationships, romantic relationships, health, fitness, travel and leisure, and other. And then I'll write across, as a matter of fact, I can pull it up right now while I'm talking to you. I'll write across, like, hike Machu Picchu, you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. Go here, see daughters graduate, visit whatever, you know what I mean? Maintain charity budget, help more foster kids. You know what I mean? That's, you know, and I'll have for this 51 through 56, and then 57 through 61, you know, career and education, read 5 books a year, visit campuses, you know, Sky on college campus, brief graduation, you know.
Wow.
Purchase European home, train across Eastern Europe, ride those trains, those luxury trains, it's really cool, leisure travel. Train in Scotland, 1 month yacht each year, you know, like I'm trying to time bucket my life. So
I love that you pulled up your actual bucket list.
Well, it's time bucketing, you know, it's each period. It's like, because you can't just have a list. You have to have a list with a time, you know? And so it has to go into a period, because you can't just wait until like, oh, I'm going to die in 5 years, I'm going to go do all these things. It doesn't work that way. It'll never work that way. You have to bucket each period and slot the activities that go into the activity. You know, I have my wave running and stuff like that, stuff that have naturally the things that have more physically taxing on my body, and that my body health really, my physical health really impacts how much I'm going to enjoy that experience. Those activities are pulled forward, and things that where my physical health have less of an impact on my enjoyment, you know what I mean? But they still have an impact, are pushed further out in time.
How far ahead are you planning? Do you have like a 500-piece puzzle planned for your 90th, you know, year? Or?
Well, my estimated death date is right around 87. So 82 to 87. 82 to 87 is the last bucket that gets filled. It could be 82 till on till the grave. It doesn't have to have the endpoint 87. But I don't have that filled out yet. But a lot of those activities will be like, you know, visit grandkids, have people visit, keep contact with friends, read books. You know what I mean? Play in a chess tournament. You know, get to my chess rating up to, you know, goal to get my chess rating up to X, Y, and Z. Whatever. Like, it's going to be, when I'm done with this thing, and I'm constantly going to be revising it will have, you know, kind of like a blueprint of the things that I know I want, right? Because life is discovery. You know, I'm going to go through life and discover some of the things I want, but the things that I know I want and the experiences I want to have and the type of experience I'm going to have, they get slotted into here. You know, like here, swim with whale sharks. That's in here. Next 5 years, right? I'm not going to try and swim with whale sharks at 82 to 87. I mean,
I don't recommend it.
I could do it maybe, you know, when I get there, but it's not something that I'm going to plan that I'm going to get the maximum experience points at doing that at 82 to 87, you know?
Right.
So that's that's actually in the 51 to 56 bucket. Like, I don't even want to have it in the 57 to 61 based on my back and health and all this other kind of stuff. So I have this, you know, like I wrote in the book, you should time bucket your life. It's an exercise you should do, et cetera. And, you know, I'm trying to take my own advice.
What supposedly thrilling experience did you find to be overrated?
What, visiting the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Did you do the corny photo where you stand in front of it with your hands?
Photo, and I was like, I was like, why the fuck am I here? You know what I mean? Like, it was literally like, hold on, let me. Amber Alert. That was an Amber Alert on my phone in Texas. See what it is.
Better call Amber back later.
Yeah. Let's see. Make sure it's just not my neighborhood. No, Colorado City, Texas. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it was just one of, that was overrated. Like,
nothing else to do in town.
yeah, that was like hyper overrated. I don't know. It just.
Let's see here. Can you tell me how much you actually spent on your 45th birthday party?
No, I'm not going to share that one.
You talk about it in the book. Natalie Merchant performed. You rented out a whole hotel in St. Bart's.
Yeah.
I mean, that set you back. I had to have.
Yeah, definitely set me back, especially for one event, right? Like, there's many events in your life and days and trips or whatever, and then for one singular week, or it definitely was significant.
You've met tons of celebrities, athletes over the years. Is there anybody who would make you starstruck today?
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah?
I mean, I had like the biggest crush on Angelina Jolie. And I'm, aside from her natural beauty, I really, I don't know her. I can't know her. Whatever. But like her spirit, her charity work, her adoptions, it just really like I was like really impressed by Angelina Jolie. So she made me. I would be starstruck with Angelina Jolie. I had a crush on her for I don't know 30 years.
Put it in the time bucket. You got to put it in the time bucket.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm a big fan. No. I mean, everybody's human or whatever. I just, you're just going to say somebody can come close and be Angelina Jolie. Other than that, absolutely no one.
Age 62. Be arrested outside of Angelina Jolie's window.
Take Angelina Jolie on a movie date.
All right. Let's see.
I was so sad too when they broke up. When she broke up with Brad Pitt, I was so sad. I was actually sad, which is weird. I'm not that type of guy. I don't follow that shit. I don't give her a rat's ass. But with Angelina Jolie, it like broke my heart. I was like, oh man, I really like her.
I used to make fun of that.
So painful that she's going through that. I don't want her to go through that. Seriously, I was seriously in pain for her.
My wife would follow. She knows more about celebrity relationships than the actual at work that they do, and I'd always make fun of her when she got upset over couples breaking up. And then I think Chris Pratt broke up with Anna Faris, and I was like, "What? They were perfect together." I was exactly the same way.
I don't know Anna Faris. I think I know Chris Pratt, right? He's
she was the girl in Scary Movie and Mom. All those. Well, you don't watch movies or TV, so.
Yeah, I know. I do watch movies. I mean, I do watch movies. I made movies, right?
That's true.
It's funny. My casting agent was like, "Bill Perkins, you do not watch enough movies to be making movies." She was like mad at me because I didn't watch enough independent movies to be making movies. So I started watching movies, But it's just TV. I kind of avoid.
Who would you want to play you in the movie of your life?
Holy shit. Phil Ivey. I don't know. I really don't know.
Phil Ivey comes up a lot.
I don't know who should I get to play me. I don't know.
So there's not a script in the work then.
No, there's no script. My life is not. Nobody wants to see about my life is not that like. It's not as interesting or heroic, right? It's just it has points of inspiration, right? Like
I'm fun.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. It's like I'm not a role model. I tell people like, "Oh, you're a role model." I'm like, I make way too many mistakes to be a role model, but
you definitely Barkley.
Yeah, I definitely can be an inspiration, right? There's a big difference, right? I can be inspiring, and I have inspirational moments and inspirational periods in my life that people can look to and take that part of it. But to model your life after mine, I'd be like, you're absolutely fucking nuts. Don't do that.
We're going to switch it back to poker here. Biggest pot you've ever won or lost? Your choice.
1.7 and 2.3.
Which is which?
One lower, lost higher.
Oh, okay. Was it particularly brutal or?
No, it's just the thing. Actually, it's just it was just standard. You lose.
What about the weirdest place you've ever played poker for money?
Weirdest place. I think a basement in Houston. We used to play in this basement in Houston under a storage, under like I don't know where it was, but I guess that's the weirdest place.
Yeah. Now Houston's booming with the poker.
Yeah.
Or at least it was.
It was, and then they close it down, then they reopen, and then they close it down. It's just kind of weird.
What is a talent you don't have that you wish you did?
Play piano.
Just the piano, huh? What is it about the piano?
I started taking lessons and I got distracted. Then we moved to St. Thomas. That's actually on my list to like learn to play piano.
Yeah, well, as long as the arthritis doesn't get you.
Yeah. Yep. That's another thing. You got to do it before then.
Who is your celebrity doppelganger? Or was there somebody that people told you looked like growing up?
I don't have one. I don't think.
I could tell you what my wife said.
What'd she say?
She said you got a little Jason Taylor.
Jason Taylor. I have had that. Jason Taylor.
I mean,
Like
it's just the bald
a
black
less,
guy.
yeah, less in shape, not as good looking version of Jason Taylor.
What about your dancing skills?
I am the best robot dancer ever in the world. I am retired, so
That'd be cool. See that on Dancing with the Stars. Pull out the robot.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you superstitious at all?
I must have some. I can't recall them right now. I guess I am superstitious in that I feel like I'm so lucky in life in so many different ways that to balance it out, I have to be unlucky in other areas. So when I'm playing cards, I'm always like, yeah, of course I'm going. You know what I mean? Of course I'm going to get bad beat. Of course this is going to happen. Of course the turn's going to be that card. You know what I mean? I'm so lucky in other areas. So that's a like superstition.
Obviously, you play the high roller circuit. You play the same guys over and over and over again. Do you have a nemesis or someone you can't beat? Someone that's always held over you?
I think Rick Solomon.
Wow, that's funny. He's come up before too.
Yeah, he's just crazy. You know what I mean? It's like he's always doing weird stuff, and when you like finally put your foot down, he just happens to have it. He's just that
guy. Biggest pet peeve at the table?
Slow play.
Yeah. The time is, you're literally stealing so much from Bill if you play slow.
Yeah, exactly. It's unbelievable, right? They're repetitive, and you're going to play 180 hands, and they're taking an extra 10 seconds. You're just like want to kill yourself.
What is your bold prediction for poker's future?
Ooh, it becomes tic-tac-toe.
What do you mean, like solvable or?
Yeah. I think that people get so good that the difference between let's say that the difference between the pros, the very best, and the very let me change it that way. Let me change my statement that the difference between the best of the best and the worst of the worst continues to shrink.
Yeah.
Right. That spread continues to shrink over time. There's just so many resources being thrown into learning the game and proper play and training that that knowledge is diffusing and mistakes that people that were common amongst, let's say, the regs and frequent are starting to disappear, and they're getting better and better.
I'm trying to think of what the worst tic-tac-toe player would look like.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I say. It becomes tic-tac-toe. Like you're basically flipping.
Yeah. All right. We end the podcast the same way every time, with a question from the random question generator. You ready?
Yep.
Do you have any collections?
Yes, I have a couple of collections. I have a coin collection. I'm a coin collecting nerd for the early American gold coins from the period of 1776 to 1780.
That is very specific.
Not 1776. Sorry. 1776 to 1790. There really weren't any gold coins in 1776. I think the first gold coin is 3 years later when the mint was finally established. But early, and I stopped at 1790 because part of collecting is about knowing the period and what's going on in history. And there's so many years of coins, like it's impossible for my brain to absorb all that knowledge. But you can actually have it called website, billscoincollection.com. I'm pretty sure. I think that's the website, but it's on a website because the coins are in a safe and I want to see them. So I just go on Bill's Coin Collect. I think it's billscoincollection.com, but it's out there. And I also collect. I have a small art collection.
That's hilarious that you built a website for it so you could enjoy it. Yeah, because you're right. What's the point of having it just sitting there in a bank or whatever?
In a drawer, right? I want to design a piece where it's in lucite or like some sort of things where it's like I can hang it on the wall and enjoy it. But right now it's on a website.
Do you have somebody picked out for it for when you go? Somebody who will appreciate it as much as you did?
I've actually. It's funny that you bring this coin collection thing up because I had been thinking about like launching my coin collection or donating it to the Smithsonian or something like that because I'm not getting as much enjoyment out of it, and it's suboptimal, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not really like an investment for me. It was like, oh, I want to collect this. And yeah, there's like small investment aspect to it, but not really that big. And I'm like, this is suboptimal. I could take that money and, I could go on like 10 yacht rentals or something like that. And I'd have so much more enjoyment and fulfillment out of it than those coins sitting there. So, or I could collect art, which I actually hang on my wall and I actually get. Like I walk past.
Yeah, exactly.
I walk past this Liechtenstein every day in my house, and I get a little bit of enjoyment every time I go by it. It makes me happy.
That was a good investment then.
Yeah, it's a great investment. I get enjoyment, but my coin collection is failing me on that, and so I'm probably gonna pitch it.
I don't know. I do like the idea of it going to a museum, so that way you get the utility of the good feeling of giving it to somebody else, but also you could still point Bill's coin collection to a live stream of of others enjoying the coin collection in the museum.
Yeah, I could do something like that. I could do something creative with it. But right now, the fact that those coins are sitting in a safe deposit box with a picture of them on a website, and just me going, oh, I own those. Like that ego thing really doesn't do anything for me. So I think I do need to get rid of them.
That's great. Like, Bill, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Message to everyone out there: turn off the TV. Go make a memory today.
Yeah, go have some fun. Basically, you got one life. Everybody always says that cliche, but let's optimize the life. Let's not just set goals. Let's just plan out our life from now to the grave and be deliberate about it and get off autopilot.
Awesome, Bill. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
That is it. That is the show. As we all know now, how Bill spends his time is very important. So I want to thank him again for coming on and spending that valuable hour with us on the podcast. If you are interested in Bill's book, Die With Zero, you can find it on Amazon or at the website diewithzerobook.com. And you can also follow Bill on Twitter at BP22 or on Instagram at Bill Perkins. Follow us at Card Player Media or at poker_stories. If you like the interview and want more, then please subscribe. Once you've done that, leave us a 5-star rating and a review, and let us know about it with an email to pokerstories@cardplayer.com, and we'll say thanks with a free digital subscription to Card Player Magazine. Thanks for listening.